Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be making pancakes, but not just any old type of pancake. So I really wanted pancakes this morning because it's 11 o'clock right now. I haven't eaten yet. I wanted pancakes, but I was like, well, why just make the same old pancakes that I've made like 20 times? I'm going to make a little bit different pancakes. I am making cinnamon bun pancakes. Alright, so in this little bag here, you're probably like, what is all of that? All right, so in this little bag here, I have 1/4 cup of margarine. I have 5 tablespoons of brown sugar. I have 3/4 of a tablespoon of cinnamon, and I have 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna seal the bag, obviously, and you are just going to, I'm gonna get the margarine down there because it's just on the top. You're just gonna kind of knead everything together. I wanna get a little bit more of the air out of here. You're just going to knead everything together until there's no chunks or lumps or anything. A little bit of my brown sugar was a little bit lumpy, but I mean, that's okay. So just knead it together until it looks like this weird like yellow-brown thing. I'm just going to go ahead and keep kneading mine.
Obviously, like, the heat from your hands is going to, like, melt the margarine, so then it's just going to be kind of like this goopy brown stuff in a bag, which doesn't really look super appetizing, but, I mean, that's okay.
Alright, so you got your filling made. Now you're going to pop this in the freezer for about 10 minutes while you make the rest of your batter. So I'm going to go ahead and put mine in the freezer and we will get started on the pancake batter. Alright, so I have the dry ingredients of my bowl. We are going to get ready at the pan, but we can't forget about our filling that's in the fridge, so you have to take it out and snip a hole in the corner so that we can kind of swirl it onto the pancakes when it's in the pan. Alright. Alright, so you want to make sure you start off with a really hot pan. You want the pan to be hot, really hot before you put the pancakes in. Otherwise, usually the first pancake is basically just fried in whatever you're cooking the pancake in. I sometimes do mine in oil, but today I'm doing it in just some of the margarine because the pan's not hot enough, so the pancake will be like cooking while the oil or the margarine is heating up. So you want to make sure that it's really, really hot. You can try by like putting like a little drop of the batter in the pan and seeing how that goes. I usually, when I'm actually making the pancakes, I usually spoon it in with a ladle, so I'm going to be doing that and then just swirling the filling onto the pancake. Okay. It didn't turn out exactly like the picture, but I mean, I'm sure they're still going to taste delicious. This was a little bit of a breakfast blunder, but that's okay. So these are the ones that I'm going to eat right now, and then these are the other ones. I just found it a little bit hard to, I found that putting the filling in the fridge might have made it a little bit too thick. It might have been better if it was at room temperature because it was a little thick, and I cut the hole in the bag a little bit too big, so I got just way too much of the filling at once. And I mean, there's no way to, unless you completely cook it all the way through and then flip it, there's no way that the stuff on the bottom isn't going to just burn when you flip it over, because it's basically just sugar and margarine flour. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're still going to taste good. I'm going to eat them right now. But so that was my somewhat failed attempt at making cinnamon roll pancakes. But I mean, you know, look isn't everything. They're going to taste delicious. So I'm really excited to eat these now. And so that's basically all for me. Alright, so I know that there's not a lot of people that actually watch these videos. I mean, I know I post them on like Tumblr and stuff like that and Facebook now and then. But I would like to apologize for not actually posting a video last week. I did film it, I just was too lazy to edit it, so it's actually going to be part of this video. I went to an Indian-themed potluck last week, last Tuesday, and I made a potato cauliflower curry for that. So So that's going to be just after this little talky thing that I'm doing right now. I filmed everything and I went to the potluck, and I was just too lazy when I got home, and then progressively every day after that I just didn't want to do it. So I still have it, so it's just going to be about a week late, although I don't know if anybody watches these actually, so it is coming. It's at the end of this video. I think maybe next week I'll try something that probably, like, I already know how to make. I mean, these pancakes are still going to taste good, so I just wish they looked a little bit nicer, but what are you going to do? This is a bear. He's a dog in my house. Anyway, so stay tuned for last week's edition of this video, because it's going to be at the end of this video. And yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say. That's all Bear has to say too. Okay. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Try It Out Tuesday. Welcome back to my channel. This week we are making Indian food. I'm going to an Indian themed potluck tonight, which I thought was supposed to be last week. So I was going to be making this last week, but I found out the night before that it wasn't actually happening until this week. So I'm coming to you straight from the kitchen. We're about to get right into it. I have a little bit less than 3 hours to make this, and to get it, you know, like heated and simmering and flavor infusing. So what we have so far, I'll show you. We have, in this bowl, we have 1 diced tomato, and then in this bowl, we have a bunch of spices. We have a half a teaspoon of garam masala, which is a pretty typical Indian spice. You can get it at health food stores, Indian stores. You can get it at most grocery stores. So there's half a teaspoon of garam masala, there's half a teaspoon of cumin, there's half a teaspoon of chili powder, and there's a quarter of a teaspoon of turmeric. So what we have to do is we have to add these spices to the tomatoes, and we have to mash them or almost puree them, to kind of get a really nice kind of like sauce with the tomatoes and the spices. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we will come back when that is done. Alright, so it's decently mashed or mixed together. It's a little bit harder than I thought, and I don't really have anything to actually mash it. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the next step, and I will come back when that is ready and ready to be done. Alright, so I'm ready for the next step. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sauteing the onions. So that's 1 onion diced, and so the onions and the potatoes, and that's 2 potatoes chopped small. I'm going to be sauteing that in a pan for about 3 minutes in some oil, and then I'm going to be adding the cauliflower, which is 1 cauliflower chopped, 1 head of cauliflower, and I'm going to be then reducing that, and it says add more oil or add some water if needed, just to make sure everything is kind of cooking, because obviously we're not pre-cooking the potatoes or the cauliflower, so we need them to be able to soften. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and get that started, and then we will move on to the next step. Now, as you can see, everything is simmering nicely. I have added some water to the pan. I added probably at first, probably equivalent to about quarter to half a cup, just to soften everything and just kind of flipping everything over so everything gets evenly softened. The potatoes are probably going to soften a lot quicker than the cauliflower is. So I'm just kind of flipping it around to make sure that the cauliflower gets in some of the water. I've just added a little bit more water. I'm going to leave this, I've left this probably now for about 20 minutes. I am going to, about 15 to 20 minutes now, I'm going to let it continue to soften and simmer and do its thing. It's on like low medium heat right now. And then after that, I'm just going to add the tomatoes with the spices, and then I'm just going to let that simmer as well and stir that semi-constantly, and then we will come back when I'm a little bit farther along. Alrighty, so I've added the tomatoes in, I've stirred it around a little bit. I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit, and then I'm just going to kind of let it simmer, do its thing, and then I'm probably just going to pop it in the crock pot and probably turn it on just low or keep warm, probably at about 20 after 4, quarter after 4. Alright, so the curry is pretty much finished. I've let it simmer. I'm probably going to add a little bit more water to it when I put it in the crock pot. I did taste test it a little bit and I found that it was a little bland, so I went and re-added the same amount of all the spices. So I added another half teaspoon of the garam masala, the chili powder, and the cumin, and then the quarter teaspoon of the turmeric. So this is what it now looks like. Like I said, it's feeling a little bit more like a stew to me right now. So like I said, I'm going to add a little bit more water to it, probably when I put it in the crock pot, which is going to be in about half an hour or so. I might do it a little bit sooner. So that's what it's looking like right now. Everything is softened nicely, and the things that aren't like fully soft, they're crunchy, but not like they're definitely cooked. They're just not kind of mushy. Some of the potatoes got a little bit mushy with stirring it around and stuff. So that's what it's looking like right now, and I think it's delicious.